last lesson was about the years of the Godwins, or the House of Godwins, which again is something that hopefully you'll know. I'm just making sure you understand. So the House of the Godwin became a bit of a favourite during Canute in 1018, and they became progressively more and more important and more powerful. So when the Earl of Godwin died in 1053, his family influence was reduced as rival earls jostled for position. However, the Godwins built up the control again, and they had control of almost all of England at one point. You have Harold Godwinson, who succeeded his father as the Earl of Wessex, giving him the richest part of the country and influence over hundreds of thanes, and was as powerful as advisor to the king as anyone. You also have in 1055 Tostig Godwinson, which is Harold's brother, who became the new Earl of Northumbria. That gave the Godwins a power base in the north of England. Then in 1057, the Earl of East Anglia was given to Gurth Godwinson, Harold's teenage brother. And in 1057, a smaller earldom in the southwest Midlands was to Leofwine Godwinson, another younger brother. So why was they allowed to increase their power so much? So firstly, Edward married Edith, and Edith was the sister of the king, which made him the king's brother-in-law. And because also England was under threat from Norway quite a lot, Edward needed his earls to be strong military leaders, which is probably why Tostig was made Earl of Northumbria instead of the old earl's son. Harold's marriage to Edith, and another Edith, may also be influenced by Godwin's gain in East Anglia, as she is thought to have inherited large estates in that region. We have also the fact that they gained military success over rivals to England. We have firstly what happened with the division between Wales and England. We have the Welsh king Gruffydd ap Llywelyn, who fought to return his earldom, and when Aegon died, King Edward and the Godwins acted swiftly. They didn't want Llywelyn working with his rivals to challenge their interests, so they surprise attacked him, and Llywelyn escaped and took a fleet to the south coast of Wales, whereas Tostig led an army overland to the north of Wales. So that shows you that the Godwins made huge strides into the west side of England and into Wales to stop the Welsh from taking back up the areas. So, also, Harold himself appointed Edward was appointed as a puppet for Edward. So, in other words, he said that he could control Wales and assumed the role of sub-Regulus, the king's deputy or leader of his armies in parts of Wales. So he now had real power in that area. So as well as Wessex and Hereford, he also was seen as an additional power base in Wales. However, before then, in 1042, he did try to get rid of the Godwins' influence, and he appointed some Normans to influential positions to try to stop the Godwins' influence. Edward promised the English throne to William of Normandy, apparently, according to the Normans, after his death, in return for William's support against Godwin. What's not clear, though, was whether this was true or not, or whether this is just propaganda from the Normans after the invasion. So, we know that Edwin Godwinson went to Normandy in the early summer of 1064 or 65 on a mission for the King Edward. It was called an embassy. Harold travelled to France, but landed in Ponthieu, a small county between Normandy and Flanders, because often people believe maybe because of a storm. But Duke William heard of the capture and demanded that the Guy of Ponthieu hand Harold over. Harold spent time with William in Normandy and